Hello and welcome to my dungeon. I know, it looks a little different, doesn't it? I rotated the bed. Oh, do you want to say something? My bad. You go first. No, you go. Oh, he needs attention constantly. Anyway, boy, do I have a story for you today. So, fun fact, I am allergic to beef. I think. The thing is like I used to eat beef all the time. Like I was a big beef eater, I liked brisket, hamburgers, steak. And so in the year of 2015, I stopped eating beef. And like 4 months go by and I go home. I'm Texas. It's a mixture of Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia. All right. It's a southern trifecta. I don't know. So I go home to Texas and my family is like, oh, we're going to celebrate. We're going to get a cookout. We're going to get all this stuff. And I was like, delicious. Great. So they got ribs. They got brisket. They got chicken. They got turkey. They got ham. They got all of it. Right. And I was just helping myself to everything. Little did I know, in the span of those like 4 months, my stomach lost the ability to digest the red meat. I ate the red meat and that whole night I felt like I was going to yak. I felt so sick and I didn't know what was wrong with me. So I asked my mom and I was like, why am I like this? And she goes, I don't know, maybe, since you stopped eating red meat, like maybe because you ate red meat tonight, that's why. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's why. So I looked it up and lo and behold, your stomach can unlearn how to digest red meat. And so I was like, well, my biggest fear is throw up. So never eating red meat again. Most people would be like, I'm just gonna slowly introduce it back into my body. Not me. I refuse to ever eat beef again. And to this day, I still have not intentionally eaten beef. And I say the word intentionally because I have been fed beef when I have told people I do not eat beef. And people are like, she won't notice. And you may be like, oh my gosh, Kate, that's awful. Yeah, it's awful. I can count on the amount of times it has happened because people are like, oh, she won't notice. Oh, she won't be able to tell the difference. Oh yeah, we'll just tell her it's pork sausage, even though she's watching us cook it and she goes, hey, that meat's a little bit too red. We're gonna just tell her it's spicy pork sausage. And then after she eats it, her stomach's gonna get the gurgle, the specific gurgle, and then she's gonna be like, uh-oh, fighting for my life, man. And it also sucks too, because then that would only happen if I ate beef, right? And then as time kept going, I hit maybe year 5 without eating beef. And I went to a friend's house and they're like, hey, I ordered us food. We're going to hang out. We're going to play games. And I was like, great, fantastic. I didn't think to tell them I couldn't have beef, but I was like, what, it's fine. He probably ordered sushi. It's probably great. You want to guess what yeah. So he ordered beef pho, which I'm not really a big pho person to begin with because they put so much cilantro in it and bleh, I don't like cilantro. But he ordered beef pho and I was like, oh, I can't have beef. And he's like, what? No, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Here, I'll order. So he ordered me something else, but I wanted to try the beef pho. And I was like, well, I can't have the beef meat because my stomach can't digest the red meat. But if I just try the broth doesn't have the meat that my stomach needs the enzymes for, right? Right? Wrong. I tried the broth. I had a few spoonfuls of the broth and I was like, wow, that's delicious. Wow, who knew? It's good without the cilantro, blah, 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 blah. Finished eating, I ate my chicken, but I also had the broth and blah, blah, blah. And so we go into a room, we start playing games with his roommates, and all of a sudden, I get the worst stomach pains. And I get a rush of nausea. And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Oh, it's happening. I felt the fear and I felt the anxiety, the sheer fear, and just the need to get out of the house, right? And so I was like, well, because I get anxiety. I have anxiety, right? And I also have anxiety revolving around throwing up because throwing up is my biggest fear, right? So sometimes, most of the time, if I ever just randomly feel nauseous, then it's because of anxiety, and then anxiety makes me nauseous, and then nauseous makes me anxiety, and then it's just I suffer every living day. So I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, is it my anxiety? Am I anxious? And I was like, no, I don't feel good. You have to get out. You have to leave. And I was like, okay. And I was sad because I hadn't seen this friend in forever. So I was like, I'm going to go home. And so then I got home and, stomach was really upset. I didn't throw up. I have not thrown up in a really long time. I had to knock on wood. I want to keep it that way. But I was really upset and I was like, how is that possible? Is it because of the beef? I didn't have any beef. I just had the broth. And then I tucked that away in the back of my head. Remember that, all right? Because I didn't remember it until recently. Skip forward to, I don't know, the last 2 years. When I go hang out with my friends and we have drinks, we go out, we go to bars, if we have drinks, and then at the end of the night, they're like, let's get McDonald's. And I'm like, no burgers, but I'll get the fries and the chicken nuggets because nuggies are delicious, right? The thing is, I always chalked it up to it being fast food, me being a little intoxicated, because I would have also on road trips, I would go in and get McDonald's, right? Something always made me feel so nauseous and so sick, and I never knew what I just chalked it up to being fast food. I didn't know what it came from. Because I don't eat Taco Bell anymore. I don't eat Burger King. I don't eat Wendy's. I just don't really eat fast food anymore. That was like one thing that I kind of cut out of my diet when I joined the gym, was I was like, well, what do I not need? Fast food. I don't really eat it to begin with, but I'll just go, because sometimes it is easy, you know, it's easy and accessible, but I just, it's something I'm like, you know what, I'll just deal with it myself. But I would allow myself on occasion, for like a little special treat, I would get nuggies and fries. And for some reason I always felt nauseous. Skip forward a few months ago, a little more than a few months ago, like 7 months ago, I ordered from a barbecue joint. And I've ordered there a few times, but I would always get the pulled pork sandwich because I can have pork. Pork isn't quite as like red meaty as beef. It's just beef. I don't know. I can have milk, I can have cheese. I don't, beef, it's the meat, right? It's the meat. So anyway, I ordered a pulled pork sandwich and I was eating it and I'm like, this is good, delicious, hooray, happy. And then, you know, that was for dinner, and then, you know, I eat, you know, the rest of the cornbread and like whatever, and then I'm watching TV and I feel fine, everything, I go to sleep, and then 2 hours later I wake up and I'm gasping for air. I'm going like this, which is something I do when I'm trying not to have a panic. I also just, my skin turns red if I scratch. I just scratch myself. So if you see my neck turn red in the next 2 seconds, whenever I'm trying real hard not to be nauseous, you see me pinch the skin, you know, so I wake up and I'm doing this already, and I'm like, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. So I stand up and I run to the bathroom and I sit on the floor and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Pull my hair back and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. You know, I put in a little, I'm not gonna hold it, I just put it up. So I'm sitting there, I'm like breathing exercises, and then I start shaking because my whole body doesn't want to throw up, all right? That is my biggest fear internally, like mentally and physically. My body doesn't want to do it either. So the two of us combined end up like this in the bathroom. Am I a little over dramatic? Yes. Okay, you feel so much better afterwards. No, I don't. I feel bad before, I feel bad during, and I feel bad after, okay? I don't like it. And then it dawned on me, my pulled pork sandwich, I'm pretty sure it was pulled pork, but it must have been cross-contaminated. They must have accidentally put a piece of beef in there. And you would think like, oh, it's just a little crumb of beef. Like, how could that affect your whole body, right? You're thinking that, right? Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I was like, I don't think they gave me like brisket sandwich. Like, it looks different than pulled pork, and it tasted like pork, and so I was like, oh, but it was so covered in barbecue sauce, you know, so like, how would I know? So I just decided, you know, I survived that night. It was sucked, but I didn't yak. I haven't yacked in a really long time. And I decided I was just never going to order from there again. And I decided that I was going to be so careful, because now I was never going to let that happen ever again. I was never going to let cross-contamination ever happen again. It didn't matter where I order from. I'm going to never get anything with beef ever. Skip forward a few months. I'm at a party with my friends and a bunch of people I don't know, but with my friends. And one of my friends was like, hey, I'm gonna order Taco Bell. We had all, you know, had twisted teas, so we were like, woo, you know? And my friend goes, oh, I'm gonna order Taco Bell. Does anybody want anything? And I was like, I want a chicken quesadilla. And I was like, but make sure it's chicken. And they were like, yeah, chicken, here, you put it in. I was like, yeah, okay. And so I'm looking through chicken quesadilla, doink. And then, oh my god, the food gets here, and we're the only cool kids that have Taco Bell. And I sit down, and you know, I'm also a little bit of a germ freak, have OCD, so I was like, I gotta go wash my hands. There were too many people in the kitchen, so I was like, well, I got like 10 hand sanitizers in my purse. Opened my quesadilla and went to take a bite, and the little sober Kate in the back of my head was like, open it. I peeled it open, and it was beef. I don't know how it was beef. I almost died, and I'm like, okay, keep in mind I did have a few twisted teas, so I was, you know, I was a little kayit, you know, and so I'm looking at it. My friends are like, oh no, is that beef? Because they know what happens. And I'm like, yeah, I'll pick it off, it's okay. The one little sober Kate did her job, and she's like, it's beef, and then walked away. Kayit picked all the pieces of beef off, threw them away, and then ate it. Guess whose tummy hurt later? And at the time, chalked it up to like, oh, it's just Taco Bell's fast food. Haha, that's why my stomach hurt. Skip forward. There's a reason why this is building up. So then at this point, I am just petrified. Any restaurant I go to, I'm petrified. What if it's cross-contaminated? What if it's cross-contaminated? What if it's cross-contaminated, you know? So now I'm having to people, you know, when, you know, go to a nice restaurant, they're like, oh, does anybody have any dietary restrictions? Now I'm like, I can't have beef because I'm scared, right? But it's like, the thing is I haven't gotten allergy tested because I already know beef doesn't do well. Or Overwatch. You've seen some of the Mercy skins, okay? Don't fight me on this. Anyway, go to these restaurants and they're like, oh, you can't have beef. And I was like, yeah, I'm a little worried about cross-contamination. It's also embarrassing to do that. I talked to my doctor. This is pretty recent. I talked to my doctor about what happens when I have beef. And she said that it did sound like an allergy. So, potential, right? It started out not as an allergy, but I think it got to the point of an allergy. Why? I don't know. I think my body just adapted to it. McDonald's French fries are flavored in beef flavoring. That's why I felt so bad every single, because I love the French. Sometimes I'd go and just get the French fries and then I'd feel awful. That's why. Beef flavoring. And the thing is, my stream on Twitch, they're the ones who told me that. Randomly, they're like, hey Kate, did you know that McDonald's French fries are actually cooked with beef flavoring? And that's probably why, just, I'm like, oh, hey? Because I'd be like, oh yeah, I always feel bad after McDonald's. It's just fast food, haha. I went to McDonald's one of the days, I don't remember what day, but I went to McDonald's, got only chicken nuggets. It was fine. I felt fine. Felt great afterwards. And so then I was like, huh, maybe I am allergic because it's not like a mental thing because people would think, oh, she's mentally. No, it's not. I wish it was a mental thing. I wish it was because McDonald's French fries are like top tier. So the point of the story is I went to a restaurant and it was a hibachi grill place. And my first concern, of course, because it's a hibachi grill where everybody grills everything is, excuse me, sir, I cannot have beef. And so I sit down and, my friends know the beef situation. There's like 5 other people at the table that I didn't know who are part of the friend group, but like my friends' friends, and so I don't know them. They don't know me. They don't know my history with beef. They don't know my beef with beef. I order fish, right? And the thing is, when they came over, oh, does anybody have any dietary restrictions? I was like, yeah, I don't eat beef. And this woman goes, okay, so vegetarian. No, is not a choice. Like, at first not eating beef was a choice, but the thing is like, I haven't been like blood tested, like, oh, yep, you're allergic to beef, and so it makes me feel like I'm lying, even though I'm not, and I may not, but like, I just feel like, those people that are like, I can't have gluten, but I will have this piece of cake as a little treat afterwards. I didn't want to come across that way, but the thing is, beef makes me so sick, and I don't want to get sick again, ever. She's standing there going, okay, so vegetarian. And I was like, well, no, I just can't have beef. And she looks at me and goes, you can't have just beef? And I was like, yeah, I just can't have beef. Like, pork is fine, chicken's fine, fish is fine, just no beef, no cow. And she's like, okay. And immediately I knew I lost her. I was like, oh God, okay, she thinks I'm faking. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's like an allergy or something. She goes, yeah, or something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, I'm so sorry. I don't want to be that person, but like, it's just not my fault. It's not my fault. So then like the chef comes over and he's like, cooking everything. He puts 3 steaks on there, blah, blah, blah. Puts 4 chickens on there, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, I'll cook your fish won't touch the beef. It's going to be elevated, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, excellent. And he starts making the rice. And I'm watching him making the rice on where the beef juice, because the beef was cooked, the steaks were cooked for only so long, And he immediately dumps, beef tallow and then the rice and then the blah, 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 blah. And I'm watching it and I'm like, sir, that would poison me, sir. Anyway, so I lean over to my friend and I'm like, do you remember in the Emperor's New Groove where Yzma's like, with the broccoli, eat your on the hand, I felt like that, trying to get my friend's attention. I wrote on my phone, does he know that he's cooking that in like, is he gonna make me a rice that's not in the beef juice? I don't remember exactly what I typed, but it was like, is he making mine in the beef juice? And my friend was like, oh, excuse me, sir. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I didn't want to be the person. So my friend goes, oh, excuse me, sir. So that's cooked on where the steaks were, right? Are you gonna bring a separate rice out for her? And the chef goes, oh yeah. I'm gonna clean it all and everything and I'll cook it separately. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, thank you. And he goes, keeps cooking and he leans over to his assistant, some girl that just walked by, and she like walks away and then comes back with the whole little rice. He wasn't gonna make me my own rice. He was gonna give me the poisoned rice. Oh, and if I just did, because I'm not confrontational, right? Like, I don't like confrontation. And so, like, if I never said anything, beef rice. Oh. He did clean it, but he didn't really, and it was like, I don't know if he used like the same utensils too, and so I didn't really eat a whole lot of the rice, but also too, like, I was just nervous, but the fish was fine. The fish was elevated, so it didn't touch any beef juice, which was nice. Yeah, that was a harrowing experience. Anyway, so I was telling my stream this, right? I was telling my stream this story about the beef juice, and I was like, guys, this is crazy. And then someone's like, how do you know? And I was talking about the French fry flavor. And then I was like, but it's so weird because you think it's just and then it dawned on me, the story about the beef pho. And I was like, oh my God, I think I am allergic. Because I think my stream was getting on to me. Like, why didn't you just tell him you were allergic? Like, that's important. That's bad. Like, it makes you so sick, doesn't it, Kate? And I'm like, yeah, allergic. And I was like, but like my throat doesn't swell up, you know? And they're like, Kate. I was like, I don't know if I'm allergic. And then I remember the french fries and I remember the pho. And then I was like, oh, because those didn't have red meat. Those were beef flavoring stuff. Or they were cooked in beef brones? Brother bones? Sorry, I need to end this story. But yeah, I don't eat beef. I've been tricked into eating beef. I've been fed beef. I accidentally ate beef. I willingly ate beef product. My body loves cheese and milk, but I guess that's like different because it's made of milk and the milk is different than like the body of the cow. I don't think I react to leather either, but I don't really buy leather because that's expensive and we don't do that. And also, I don't know if I would want leather. You know, is it ethical? Don't people like get upset about leather? Can you buy ethical leather? It doesn't matter. What are you guys allergic to? What are you allergic to? Unless you don't want to tell me, that's fine. You know what sucks? Those people that have peanut allergies. Like to the point where you can't have them if somebody opens it on the plane and then your nose goes, wah, you know? That's my story. It was such a big buildup just for me to tell you about the beef juice. That was the main point of the story was I went out to a dinner, I got all dressed nice and I wore high heels and I wanted to look purty and I sat down at this really fancy, expensive restaurant. It was so expensive. And then they almost poisoned me with beef juice. You're never safe. Oh my god, they're bringing the beef. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you have fantastic days. Safe travels. Okay, bye.